A bit of a different style of video today. I'm going to skim through the career so far of Omos, offer a little critique, and update you on what we've most recently heard about him.
I've called him Amos in the past. The announcers couldn't figure out whether it was Omos or Omos. He doesn't have a last name, but God is he big. So that was at the top of the notes. I said, okay, let's see if they got something here and if they know what to do with it.
In 2019, the WWE signed perhaps their tallest acquisition since Giant Gonzalez, the 7'3" Nigerian giant Omos. Omos made his first appearances on a string of house shows before making his television debut as a giant ninja. After this, Omos would briefly serve as the doorman and bouncer for Shane McMahon's little Raw Underground catastrophe.
His facial expressions, just that one facial expression, just that stare. It's great though, he doesn't break.
Omos would finally be allowed to kick his career into high gear by associating with AJ Styles as a sort of enforcer-type heel. It wouldn't be until WrestleMania 37 that Omos would make his televised in-ring debut, winning the World Tag Team Championship alongside AJ. The tag team run allowed Omos to show what he was capable of in a controlled environment. To be honest, as giants go for in-ring work and movement, he's not bad. It's well known in wrestling and in most sports that large men tend not to be the most athletic, but he does okay. In my opinion, he needed to pick up the pace and intensity, and his default style moveset doesn't do much for him. Definitely not bad for a guy that's so friggin' massive though.
As a matter of fact, that you're holding him back ever since you recruited him.
The team with AJ would come to an end the way you'd expect it to in the world of pro wrestling, and the two would have a match to settle their differences. By now, the physical limitations of the giant are going to become a bit more apparent. AJ very much makes Omos look good. Omos puts up a slightly better performance in a match with Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. Can someone with a more analytical eye explain to me why I perceive Omos as clumsy and fumbling in his movements in a lot of his appearances? It's like he can't loosen up enough. Perhaps he's nervous. Feel free to explain that in the comments if you're smarter than me. It also feels like, for such a big guy, his stuff just doesn't land with the impact that you'd want to see. The way he works makes his own stuff feel nerfed.
The great Khali could barely walk, whereas Omos has explosiveness, footwork, skill, agility that comes from his time playing basketball and soccer as a kid in Nigeria. He's not like a giant that anyone's ever seen before.
Through this singles run, Omos was being managed by MVP, who in my opinion was the perfect mouthpiece for the Nigerian giant. However, when MVP was released by WWE in 2024, it was a bit of a blow for Omos, who isn't the best talker on the microphone from what we've seen. We're now almost a year removed from the last appearance of Omos in WWE. He had a brief excursion in Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan, but according to an interview with Muscleman Malcolm, he intends to return to WWE. Omos teased a potential Royal Rumble return in this interview, however, that never came to be.
From now on, I am the super mega weight of this world. Nobody can touch me, nobody can see me.
Fans seem to be pretty happy with his time in Japan. Perhaps Omos has developed his experience in a different environment. The man behind the character, Jordan Omogbahin, seems like something of a gentle giant, humble with a good sense of humor. I hope he does well and refines his work a little into something great. Skimming through the YouTube and Reddit comments on the issue, a lot of fans suggested the inclusion of Obafemi makes Omos rather superfluous, which I think is nonsense. Obafemi is a big guy, but he's like 6'3", not 7'3", which is a huge difference. Part of me hopes with these two Nigerians coming from the same area that Triple H puts them in some sort of tag team. Anyway, I leave it to you. Should Omos make his imminent return to WWE? How would you book a returning Nigerian giant? Let me know in the comments below and be sure to like and subscribe, as I'm told you're more likely to if I tell you to. I've been Sarcastic Mark, and I'll see you in the next one. Video's over, mate.